Well, I think one of the things about Baltimore is its uniqueness that, you travel anywhere in the city, you know where you are, the neighborhoods have such strong local identity in those neighborhoods, and I think actually that's a strength.
Hmm.
Some of the areas need some improvement, and that's actually why for the Baltimore Heritage area, one of our goals is neighborhood revitalization. And actually, one of the brochures, Map and Guides, is Pennsylvania Avenue, which actually, there's a lot of effort to improve the area along Pennsylvania Avenue because there's such amazing history along Pennsylvania Avenue, African American history. And so we're all partnering with Pennsylvania Avenue Main Street and other organizations throughout the city to, really bring some positive life back to what's called the Avenue. So I think, there are areas that can use some lifting up, but that's really what we're all trying to do. And Kathleen's trying to protect the sites. So we're all working together. And it takes multiple partners to do that. So it's a city I think that's always looking forward, and really trying to make good things happen.
The Red Line has a strong connection to the historic neighborhoods, and there's a very thoughtful planning process that's going on right now, because this should be designed in such a way that it is respectful of the historic buildings. Certainly Fells Point and heading into West Baltimore, it will be going through or near to the Ten Hills and Hunting Ridge historic districts. So it really will touch many areas of the city. But for cities to thrive, we really have to get away from this reliance on the car. We will be in such better shape in many ways, when we have a more comprehensive transportation system. So I think that really will help the city to thrive.
We had the circulator.
Yeah, and the circulator, that is fabulous. This is something that we had hoped for and planned for it in the heritage area planning. We thought 10 years ago, wouldn't it be nice if we had a bus that would just go around to the sites and maybe it could be free. So,
Yeah.
so our dreams are coming true. So Fells Point is extremely successful and
It's an
recently
example of
became a CHAP district. And there, every day we're seeing all kinds of projects. Even with the slowdown in the economy, there is a lot of homeowner investment in this city. So people are working to improve their homes, and we're seeing thoughtful development projects as well. So, and that is, I didn't mention this before, but the commission spends a lot of time in reviewing plans to make sure that they are sensitive to the historic neighborhoods. So they are spending a fair amount of time on Fells Point these days. And we have a commission that's appointed by the mayor. It's not just staff. So we have a team of volunteer citizens who really care about the design issues and help us with this.
And probably tied to all that, you asked about what our vision is for the future, and one of the things that Baltimore is really gearing up for is the bicentennial for the War of 1812, which was the birth of our national anthem and our flag. And so communities like Fells Point and all the 1812 history that's throughout the city, we're going to be pouring a lot of energy into getting ready for that commemoration, which should hopefully bring in hundreds of thousands of visitors for that period from 2012 to 2015. So we'll be pouring a lot of energy into Fells Point, getting them even more and more visitor ready. Starting this year, we have National Park Service rangers that give tours of Fells Point, starting from the water taxi stop down there. So. Yeah,
Yep.
Charles Street, 2009 was a big year for us. We became a National Heritage Area in March of 2009. Then in October of 2009, Charles Street became a National Scenic Byway, which is also a very prestigious national designation. And what's so amazing about that is the fact that there are very few urban national scenic byways, and actually very few urban national heritage areas as well. So Baltimore is now one of 4 urban national scenic byways, and that's the entire length of Charles Street. And what that means is that we will increasingly draw a lot of tourists, a lot of international tourists, believe it or not, travel to go to national scenic byways. And what we're creating is itineraries for people to shop, dine, go to attractions, etc., up and down the entire length of the byway. And there are sections of Charles Street that you can, you talked about the block and stuff. There are areas along Charles Street that could take some improvement, and hopefully through this designation we'll be able to do that.
I would want for the visitors in Baltimore and the residents to look around and feel that this is a beautiful, well cared for city that offers many surprises and continuously reveals facts that perhaps you didn't know before. So that element of surprise and delight. And being well maintained too.
And I think the fact that we couldn't do it without them. I mean, our partners are the public. I mean, without the residents and without the tourists, none of this would be possible. And we just hope the residents are very proud to live in such a historic city with all of this, amazing history. I think in little small ways, all the time we kind of reach those little points and we celebrate them. I mean,
I think that's true. And in the world of preservation, one reason why you're never done is because things constantly change.
Yeah.
And it's not unheard of to, in one decade, preserve something, and then maybe 20 or 30 years later, preserving it again. And circumstances change.
Buildings,
with
monuments,
owners.
everything takes care and constant maintenance.
So it's a passing of the torch. Our ancestors left us this beautiful place to take care of. So that's what we're doing now. And every day they're happy victories. When something gets done, we feel good about that. But it's no guarantee that it will stay that way in the future.
But I would think that for the heritage area, the closest thing to that will be in 2014 if we have successfully done a lot of projects tied to the War of 1812 and have successfully welcomed hundreds of thousands of visitors to Baltimore. I think we'll feel really good about that. I'll personally be happy about that and maybe get an extra night's sleep in 2015. We're counting the days at this point, so that'll be a big moment. But yeah, I think every day we celebrate our successes. I think the example I'll use, I won't name names, but a friend of mine who works for Visit Baltimore, which is the tourism agency here in the city, he always talks, he taught me a couple years ago about the fact of what he calls bragging rights, the fact that you have bragging rights when you go and visit someone somewhere. I think people that live in Baltimore have bragging rights. I mean, where else can you say that at lunch I went and had an authentic meal in Little Italy? In the afternoon, I went to the Baltimore Museum of Art or the Walters for free. And then on the weekend, I went to, Hunfest up in Hamden. I mean, there are many cities where you can go and then visit the Poe House.
And go to the Poe House, yeah.
I mean, there's just, it's endless. And there's never a moment where you'll be bored. And 75% of it you can do for free. I mean, that's pretty cool.
A place that I really, really like, and this may be a personal thing, is the Zion Church, which is downtown across from City Hall. City Hall was our first landmark, but the garden in Zion Church is just a wonderful place to retreat or enjoy some German food when they have a festival. And it's just a quiet little oasis in the middle of the city, and the extraordinary architecture and beautiful artwork that's a part of the building design. So those are a couple.
And I think for me, when people think of heritage areas and think of historic and architectural preservation agencies like Kathleen's, we always think of architecture and sites and buildings. But what heritage areas are also about are open spaces. And so in Baltimore, I would encourage people to visit Silburn Arboretum if they've never been there. It's part of the Baltimore National Heritage Area. And also Druid Hill Park with the beautiful conservatory there, and one of the largest open spaces in any city, in the country. So I'd encourage people to walk around there. Part of President Obama's initiative is the Great Outdoors, and we actually have plenty of beautiful outdoor spaces in Baltimore, and I think people don't think of that. So I'd encourage people to do that.
Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Where you gonna run to?